What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the stimulus package update, daily news, pretty much everything going on here in our country and in Washington, D.C. Money, investing, the stock market, pretty much everything you need to know about. Remember that new videos come out here on our channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. I will keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country and this next stimulus package and the physical infrastructure package, which has now passed the House and the Senate. Check this out. There is now more than half of U.S. states are suing to stop Biden's COVID vaccine mandate. Wow. You can see here at least 26 states on Friday filed or joined lawsuits opposing President Biden's vaccine mandate, saying, quote, "This vaccine mandate is unconstitutional, unlawful, and unwise," said in a filing by a coalition of 11 different states. The White House on Thursday made an official its a plan to require vaccines for employees of big companies. More than half of the U.S. states on Friday filed or joined lawsuits opposing President Joe Biden's vaccine mandates for employees of large companies of 100 employees or more. 26 states co-signed 4 different petitions, amounting to perhaps the most sweeping legal challenge to the pandemic-era safety requirements since Biden took office. 3 Democratic-led states are, interestingly, among the 26 states. The lawsuits filed in 4 federal appeals courts take aim at Biden's requirements that all companies with more than 100 employees mandate the vaccines for their staff or implement weekly testing. Quote, "This mandate is unconstitutional, unlawful, and unwise," said a lawsuit filed by Missouri and 10 other states in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit. And then yesterday, the first ruling to go against President Biden came in and has halted the first vaccine mandate just yesterday. As you can see here, an appeals court ruled on Saturday to temporarily halt President Biden's vaccine mandate for businesses with 100 employees or more. The ruling came in from the U.S. Court of Appeals from the 5th Circuit after Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a Republican, filed a challenge to the mandate requiring employers with over 100 employees to get vaccinated or undergo frequent testing directly from the court. The challenge included states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Utah, and South Carolina. So as of right now, this appeals court yesterday temporarily halted this vaccine mandate from President Biden. Now, this is major news as the country is kind of holding its breath, trying to see what is going to happen next. It's probably going to go to the Supreme Courts, and well, the fate of millions of people is, and their job requirements, work requirements, vaccine requirements are really at stake in the hands of probably just a few Supreme Court justices. So really a major decision is probably very close at hand for millions and millions of people with these vaccine mandates. So and we've really had a kind of a back and forth decision here now with this temporary halting of this from this court order. But it's a temporary thing because it's honestly probably now going to go to the Supreme Court. So I will keep you up to date on what will happen next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this was the right decision, the wrong decision? Do you think the Supreme Court is going to have a different decision? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Next up is Democratic leader Pramila Jayapal, leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, leader of 96 Democrats in the House of Representatives, on passing the physical infrastructure package, and now their sights set on the stimulus package, which is really just waiting to be passed in the House. Remember, they did that kind of test vote in the House after they passed the physical infrastructure package, which is now fully passed in the House and the Senate, and is now waiting for President Biden to sign it. They're kind of waiting on a formal ceremony, so to say, we think. So, kind of waiting to see what President Biden is going to do on that. I will keep you up to date on that with the physical infrastructure package known as the American Jobs Plan. But Pramila Jayapal and the Democratic Progressive Caucus kind of changed strategies at the last minute, where they said they weren't going to vote on the physical infrastructure package without passing of the stimulus package, but they made a last minute change where they have a written agreement. And they had talked about this previously. We had heard her say this in some interviews where they said if they had an agreement with moderate Democrats from the House that they would sign a piece of paper and agree to pass the stimulus package, that they might vote on the physical infrastructure package. So here she is with kind of the change of strategy and what is going to happen with the stimulus package going forward.
Right now, we're delighted to welcome to the broadcast Representative Pramila Jayapal, Democrat from Washington and leader of the Progressive Caucus, and a really big deal when it comes to getting these bills passed. You've been so out there with your thoughts and really how this is all coming together. So I guess a congratulations is in order because one has gone. There is another one coming. It's worked in a way that you are happy with, I presume. I'm going to ask you details on that, but let's get to what the president said. He hailed the passage of the infrastructure bill. I mean, it is a huge achievement. But the Build Back Better bill simply got that rule vote. And your Progressive Caucus had, as I said, wanted to vote on both bills at the same time. So how did the equation change?
Yes, Alex, it's great to see you, my friend. Always good to be on with you. Look, we have been committed to how we get both bills through. And I would just remind everybody that 4 weeks ago, we had nothing on Build Back Better. We had an infrastructure bill, but we had nothing on Build Back Better. We didn't have a framework. We didn't have legislative text. We certainly didn't have a vote on the floor. We didn't have any agreement that it was actually going to pass. And what we were able to get last night is to the place where we were able to pass the infrastructure bill, get a firm commitment from all 6 moderates that they would vote for the rule. And, you know, they were not wanting to vote for the bill at the time. They would vote for the rule, and that in 10 days that they would vote for the Build Back Better Act once they've studied the scores. They needed some time to look at the numbers, but they would vote on it. And that is a commitment they made to me. It's a commitment they made to the president. And it's a commitment they put into writing.
Yeah, so as you can see here, this is actually the vote here on the test vote. So that's the 221 Democrats that voted yes for the stimulus package test vote, and 213 Republicans that voted no. 213 Republicans voted no. 221 Democrats voted yes. So basically, this is after the physical infrastructure package passed, and all the Democrats voted yes to the stimulus package test vote. Basically, so the stimulus package is just waiting to be passed as soon as the Congressional Budget Office gives back the scoring, the math on the bill that basically says, yes, everything is correct, everything's on the up and up, assuming that that is how it's going to come back. And all the Democratic representatives from the House, not the Senate, but the House, are or did vote and are willing to vote yes on it once it comes to the real vote. So it is looking like it's going to pass the House at least as soon as they get back this Congressional Budget Office score. So the stimulus package is waiting to be passed in the House as soon as they get back this Congressional Budget Office report.
So I think that we have to think about this as what was our goal here. And look, the other thing that happened last night, Alex, is that we, progressive leadership and moderate leadership, were able to get in the room. And when I say moderate leadership, I actually mean the 6 that were, that were not there yet. We got in a room together and we worked out this deal on our own. That's what Mark Pocan was saying when he said rank and file. We worked this out on our own. The president, of course, helped and was really important to that discussion. But really, this was about, can we look each other in the eye and start to reestablish trust? Because that is going to be essential for everything else we need to do. And there have been a lot of ways in which that trust has disintegrated. And I think this was a really important moment that I haven't seen anyone talking about yet, where we were saying, let's bring some creativity to the table in terms of how we solve this with the statement of agreement that they will vote for the bill. But also, let's start to look each other in the eye and not allow other people to come in and try to negotiate for us. Let's do it with each other. And I think that was a really important moment. I trust them completely. I will say that. I said that last night. I'll say it again. I trust that they looked me in the eye and said that they were going to pass the Build Back Better Act as soon as they had had a chance to look at the fiscal information. And that will be transformative. We will send it over to the Senate, just as we anticipated, with more in it, Alex, than even what was laid out in the Biden framework. So now we have paid leave in there. We have an agreement on pharmaceutical drug pricing. We have immigration. We have really a remarkable package that at this point is about 2.1 trillion. So I think this is a really fantastic agreement for the American people, and delivering the infrastructure bill was a true honor to deliver that. Progressives delivered that bill. Without us, it would not have happened. And we delivered that bill to the president, and he's going to be able to sign it.
So a couple of interesting things she mentions there. Number one, she mentions that the bill is now 2.1 trillion. Wow. Number one, I don't know if they have enough pay force for that. Come to think about it, they probably do, because the prescription drug pricing has been added in there. And remember that is a negative cost. Remember that actually saves the U.S. government hundreds of billions of dollars. So, and remember, they actually, when they put the framework together, they had $1.99 trillion of pay fors in there. Just kind of thinking through this now, as she literally just mentioned that now. What did she say? 2.1 trillion? Yeah, so they probably have something like 2.3 trillion dollars of pay fors in there or something like that. Here's another thing I want to mention. I got a couple things I want to mention now, actually, now that I'm kind of thinking through this here, just on the fly. The immigration that's in there. I don't know how much that's going to cost, because there's a cost to that. That's probably not going to end up in there. You might be pro-immigration, you might be against immigration. That kind of falls under your political belief. That's unlikely to make it to the final package. And I'm not picking political sides here or anything. It's just that the Senate parliamentarian is probably going to rule that out. And Joe Manchin is probably going to vote against it, and probably some other senators as well, once the parliamentarian rules that out. So that's going to reduce the cost of the package by, I don't know, 100 billion, 200 billion, whatever it ends up being, right? So that's going to reduce the cost of that package. The other thing I want to say there is that Joe Manchin and maybe even Kirsten Sinema may have some qualms about some other things as well. Paid family medical leave is one of those things that Nancy Pelosi added in there, but it's very, very iffy on whether or not that's going to make it to the end, okay? Because Joe Manchin says he's for it, but it should be paid for in other ways and should be bipartisan, and it should be added in. It should be done in a different way and paid for by employers, which really this is paid for through taxes, but whatever. So it's really it's a coin flip whether or not that's going to make it to the end of the package. And really, this stimulus package could be very different by the end of the day when the House passes it, goes over to the Senate. The other thing I want to say here is that what could end up very likely here is that if the Senate starts taking things out, that presents an opportunity for Bernie Sanders to add things back in. And that's the perfect opportunity for Bernie Sanders to add things in, like a stimulus check for adults, or the $800 stimulus debit card for Medicare for seniors, for medical and dental. Because what's going to happen is, if Joe Manchin, if they remove immigration, which is probably going to happen, and if they end up removing some other things, whatever they may be, right? Let's just say they remove this, that, and the other thing, right, from the Senate. Very, very likely that could happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's a possibility that could happen, probably a decent possibility that Joe Manchin says, I don't agree with this and I don't agree with that, right? And if things get removed, they're going to go through some negotiations, right? They're not. I'm just kind of spitballing here, right? This is kind of how things went down from the third stimulus check package. If you remember, the $15 an hour minimum wage got removed because the Senate parliamentarian said it couldn't be removed, and then we had they actually voted on it, and only 42 senators voted yes instead of all 50. There was 8 senators that said, well, the parliamentarian said it shouldn't be in there. So it's not that all the Democrats aren't for the $15 an hour minimum wage. It's just that it shouldn't be in the reconciliation bill. So that's something they might vote on later, but getting Republicans to vote on that, well, that's a different story, right? So same thing here. Anything that this parliamentarian says shouldn't be included in the stimulus package probably will get removed. Anything that gets removed has a cost to it and will lower the price tag, okay? And if they start removing a couple different things, that presents an opportunity for Bernie Sanders and other Democrats, but mostly Bernie Sanders and maybe Chuck Schumer, to say, all right, well, we've removed this, this, and this. That's a cost of 200, 300 billion, whatever the cost is. Let's negotiate. We could add in stimulus check for adults. We could add in the $800 Medicare stimulus debit cards for seniors, right? That is exactly where they could add something like this in. So remember that when we go back to the third stimulus check package, that's pretty much exactly kind of how things went down. They removed the $15 an hour minimum wage. They lowered the income threshold for the third stimulus check from $100,000 to $80,000 for single filers. And in exchange, they added in the $10,200 unemployment tax-free provision, which literally gave checks to, whether you call them stimulus checks or stimulus provisions or unemployment tax refund checks, literally just gave those new stimulus provisions to, I want to say millions of Americans, anybody who had unemployment income. So yeah, millions of Americans literally at the last moment while they were negotiating during the vote. And coincidentally, if we go back to what happened here, you heard Pramila Jayapal say that, and if we go back to what happened here, if we go back a couple videos ago, remember when they were when they were stuck on that vote on the floor? And remember I said that this is now the longest vote in history ever on the House floor? And remember I said they're probably negotiating behind the scenes. And that's why they've left the vote open. We had that Republican congressman say, what is going on here? Why aren't they closing the vote? And I said, they're probably negotiating behind the scenes. And we just had Pramila Jayapal confirm that they were negotiating with the moderate Democrats to get that agreement there. So I was right, that's what they were doing. And that's why they had that 5-hour long vote, which will go down in the history books of the longest vote ever for the House. And that's why the Democrats left that pretty much inconsequential vote. It was a motion to adjourn. Basically, a Republican just made a motion to end the vote. It was the vote to end the stimulus vote. And the Democrats denied the vote. It was just an inconsequential vote, a vote that meant nothing. And the Republican was saying that this vote has already failed. It's a motion to stop the vote. We should just proceed on. Why are we waiting 5 hours here? And the reason the Democrats didn't just close the vote is because they were in the back room negotiating with the moderate Democrats, and they were scrambling to figure out what they were going to do. Because the reality is that they were scrambling to figure out what they were going to do because they didn't have the votes. The moderate Democrats were saying, we have decided we don't want to vote for this because we want the Congressional Budget Office score. And that really is what happened. And that just literally shows you how things go down. On the last moment, people were just deciding at the last moment, like, I can't vote for this in good conscience without knowing the math and knowing what is actually in the bill and knowing what the pay-fors are and the math and how everything's paid for. And it kind of makes sense. And remember that Joe Manchin's going to request this anyways, the Congressional Budget Office score. So he's going to need this report anyways. And that is exactly what happened with the third stimulus check package in the Senate when they broke the record for the longest vote ever in the Senate. When they literally broke the record for the Senate. Remember that they just broke the record in the House like yesterday when the infrastructure package passed. When they broke the record in the Senate was when they did the same thing. They left the vote open, took Joe Manchin off the Senate voting floor, took him in a back room because he wasn't going to vote for it. And they said, well, what do you need to do? What do we need to do to make you vote for it? And he basically, probably, we don't really know what happened, but he probably said, I can't in good conscience vote for a stimulus check for the third one for single filers making $100,000. We need to lower that. So they lowered it to $80,000. But in the course of negotiation, they said, okay, well, we'll do that. We'll lower it to 80,000, but let's add in something for people that are lower income. And in this case, it was unemployment people. People that were on unemployment were really struggling at that time. So they added in the $10,200 worth of unemployment income became tax-free. And that was so people that had unemployment income weren't kind of left with a unexpected tax bill, because a lot of people don't realize that unemployment income is taxable income. It's basically replacing your income from your job. So it's just like if you earn the money from your job, it's taxable income. A lot of people don't realize that. So they kind of made it so people, that first $10,000 of unemployment income became tax-free. So, and since that the majority of people kind of already collected that income and the IRS already collected it, they got a refund check back. So it basically became an extra stimulus check back for millions of Americans. So it was a really good trade-off for anybody that didn't miss out on that stimulus check, which was only for people making over $80,000 as a single filer. So for most people, anybody who was on unemployment from 2020 got a really good trade-off there, because you could kind of thank Joe Manchin. So that just kind of shows you how literally like things can get added into the stimulus package at the last moment. Now, I can't promise anything. I don't get to make the negotiations. If it was up to me, I would already send a forced stimulus check out to everybody, and I'd already send out monthly recurring checks to everybody low income, because I see your guys' comments every single day. I know how bad people are struggling. I would increase the SNAP benefits so much. I'd have a monthly check going out to low income people, and I would do so much for everybody because I see the comments every single day. I know how bad people are struggling right now during this pandemic. If it was up to me, it'd already be done. But just remember, I don't get to make the decisions. It's just, I wish I could do it. But on the other hand, I can only report on what they're doing here. Now, there is going to be a lot of things in this package on what is already in this package. There's going to be these monthly checks to children. There's going to be Medicare benefits. There's going to be lowering the cost of prescription drugs. There's going to be reducing the cost of childcare, which for many, many families is over $10,000 a year or more. That's going to be significantly reduced down to 7% of their income. There's going to be so many different things that is targeted to different groups of people. And there's going to be more rental assistance. Rental assistance right now is one of the best stimulus programs you can get. I have literally had probably thousands of viewers that have gotten 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months of their rent paid just because they applied for it. And I honestly feel that there's so many people that watch this show that just need to apply for it. People probably think that they can't get it. And I feel like if they just applied for it, that they probably could get it. And I see so many people say it's not available in my area. And I really think that most people don't realize that it's available in all 50 states right now. And I see people say it's not available in their area or in their state, but it's available in all 50 states right now. And I have a video showing you exactly how to do it with 3 different links in the description of that video that shows you exactly. There's 3 different links, and it shows you the different counties and the different areas. 3 different links that shows you exactly how to find it in your area. And literally, I've had hundreds, if not thousands, of comments of people that saying that they have gotten 3 months or 6 months or 12 months of their rent paid. I also have a homeowners one that I'm looking into right now. Me and my wife are doing some research on it. I'm going to have that coming out here in the next day or so for you guys as well. So, and that one, yeah, like I said, I'll have that one out here within the next day or so as well. So I'll have a new information. Like I said, there's multiple different stimulus type programs that are still available and are coming available. And there'll probably be several different things in this next stimulus package as well. So I will keep you up to date on everything. And hopefully there'll just be as much help as possible. So I'll keep you up to date. So make sure to subscribe down below. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest stimulus video next. And this video is how to get rent assistance. If you haven't applied for this, or if you're just interested, you want to see how it works, click on this video and you'll see how rent assistance works. As I said, you can get 3 to 12 months of your rent paid for from the last stimulus package. It's available in all 50 states right now.